Well, for this video, a little bit of a story time. I've told this before, maybe once or twice. And some of you probably never heard of it. You know, my mom is psychic. And she told me, I was not even a year old yet. But prior to that, so I don't know, she may have been pregnant with me or she had just given birth, whatever it was. We lived in San Diego, California. And she's having these horrible dreams and nightmares. It's the same. Fire falling out of the sky over the apartment complex they lived in, terrifying, waking up hysterical. And it would start to get worse and worse. To where she got to the point where she told my dad, "Get us out of here or I'm leaving myself. I can't take it anymore. We have to get away from here." So they end up moving, not too far, but different place. Still in San Diego, you know, maybe a few miles away. And I think her dream subsided at that point. I'd have to actually ask her though on this thing. But so you may know it was September. It looks like September 25th, 1978. Mid-air collision. Had a commercial airliner that was coming down to land, and a Cessna 172 that was taking off that didn't follow the tower's instructions as far as what course to maintain, because they knew the plane was coming in. And the Cessna did not follow the course, apparently. 2 people on the Cessna and 100-something people on the commercial airliner. It ended up hitting the right wing of the commercial airliner. Everybody died. 7 people on the ground, I think, also died. And someone put online the archives from the San Diego Police Department or whatever. And I just thought the other day it'd be interesting if I went and looked at that, because there was a Faces of Death video, which we rented at Blockbuster a long time ago, and I didn't know it, but they had a piece in there about that crash. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the one my mom told me about, you know. And so I thought that was neat, but that was like, you know, I don't know how many years ago, 16, 17 years ago. But recently I'm like, let me go see what I can find. So my mom, I sent her a link to it. I'm going to show you some pictures. Because I said, where was the apartment complex? Basically, where were we at? What apartment were we at? And she says, on this picture, there's a building in the center top of the photo. There's a little covered porch area on the second floor, which is showing. So that would be this here. That porch is the back side of our apartment building on Dwight Street. So that was the apartment building, backside of it anyways, that my mom and dad and me, my sister was born. She's older than me, so I mean I was like 8, 9 months old or something. And she made my dad move. This is where they were living when she's having these nightmares of fireballs falling out of the sky and wrecking the whole area. And it got so bad, she forced my dad, we have to get out of here or I will leave you here and I'll go. But I was like, all right. So they moved. The interesting thing is, while this is all around that apartment building, it looks like the apartment building itself was intact. But look how close this was. So I just decided, when I was looking the other day, to just kind of show you what the archive picture showed of that neighborhood. And I was reading online too, and people were recalling, what my neighbor told me when I moved in, or, they were here, it happened live in front of them. And several people said there was a guy like in a prone position, like Superman style, or like you would in, to parachute out of a plane kind of a position, who they said had this he was out of the seat, he was out of everything, and like flying down on the ground, like heading down fast. And they said people heard him whiz by and screaming, but the scream, they said it wasn't like someone just like going, ah, or whatever. It was like a high pitched, they said almost like a pig squeal, loud, just this. And the guy flies into the back of a car head first. I mean, it killed him. and end of the noise and everything else. But people saw. I mean, people were damaged psychologically for a long time. For some of what they described, people falling through their houses into their house. One person was in the seat, still completely in the seat, and fell through the roof of someone's house, landed right in the kitchen, staring at their stove as if they're looking at what's cooking. You know, is the comment that they said. One of the persons had a little girl's bedroom where multiple bodies ultimately ended up, pieces and parts, you name it. My dad told me the manager of this particular complex was just a piece of trash. And he said that he told my dad, "Oh, I'm going over there. I'm going to go see if I can get some rings and jewelry," and was trying to go over there to steal, jewelry and things off of the dead bodies. And then he came back. He's like, "Nah, there's too many. They pushed us away. The police and everybody are there. We couldn't get in." My dad's thinking, "What the hell? You're out there thinking about stealing people's jewelry off their dead hands and like what?" Yeah. So, anyways, I read some of those stories online, and I told my dad that today. He's like, "Yeah, I don't remember hearing about the screaming, guy." But my dad, again, they had moved, so it's not like they came right outside and saw this. He was down the street when it happened, and a friend of his, I guess, picked him up, or he picked them up, and the guy wanted to go over there. My dad's like, "I don't want to get anywhere near there," and the guy's like, come on, let's go." So the guy got out. He was throwing up for like 2 weeks straight after he saw what he saw. It was just bad. So I just want to show you some of the scenery of what it looks like when a plane crashes, especially in a area that's residential or what have you. Yeah, and by the way, notice all the plane parts after a crash happens. They don't just disintegrate. And also notice what catches on fire massively. Everything around there. They said one of the wings was actually embedded in someone's house as well. Now I'm just kidding. Now, this isn't funny, but every time I see that picture, it reminds me of Chips Patrol, Poncherelli and the other guy, whatever his name is. Because that's the uniform, California Highway Patrol. That's the same uniform. Like, wait a minute, Dad, is that you? Not quite, no. I mean, there's just debris and stuff absolutely everywhere. Houses destroyed. I mean, imagine that just happening in your neighborhood. Like, just, you think of, you were just bombed or something, like a bomb went off. If you look closely right here, I can't zoom in. I think that's actually a person. Doesn't really show anything gory, anyways, but believe that's a person. The top part of their body, anyways. But you look around and you're like, well, what else is the rest of this stuff here? Like, what are we looking at? What is all of this? And my dad had told me there were like no way to sugarcoat this, but piles of mush and what for all intents and purposes looked like hamburger meat all over the place from people hitting the ground so hard. And that was the only couple of shots. There's a one right before this happened where the plane's a little higher, where this is right before it's about to go down, but it pretty much, the nose came down a little bit more. I mean, total control of that aircraft lost. That Cessna hit right there. The Cessna was found like half a mile away or something like that, 3,000 something feet away maybe. And of course those pilots and that one died. They were both pilots. One was like an expert trainer. The other one was getting trained to become, I think, a trainer or expert in some kind of, gauges or something. I forgot what it was. But I don't know, something just told me to go look. I was curious. I wanted to see like what kind of imagery and things I could find, because I wasn't even a year old, and thank God we weren't living over there at the time. But even so, the actual apartment complex was just a hair out of the way. Everywhere around there, pieces and parts landed and fire started, and holy crap. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's very fascinating. My mom's having these dreams, these nightmares, so bad that she's forcing my dad to leave. We're moving out of here. I can't take it. I'm pretty sure she said the nightmare stopped once they moved. And she goes, I was at home. I heard the boom, went outside and saw it, and immediately when I saw it, I knew what it was. My vision, there it is. I knew what was happening. And she's like, up until that time, I had no idea what it was. But then, it was like deja vu. Oh, there's the fire in the sky coming down. And keep in mind, the Cessna blew apart too and trickled down all over the place as well, which there's no photo of that. So, yeah, it's a shame. And I think one of the final words of one of the pilots, they don't know who said it, but it was like, I love you, Ma, something like that. And that was it, So, what a shame. Anyways, just a little odd thing to do here. Wanted to do that video. Take care.